Hey, Mike Callahan here. Absolutely stoked. Got a huge event coming up here in April, the annual Lawn and Landscape Influencers Online Summit. Just about to drop a knowledge bomb on everybody in the lawn care industry and landscape industry. So Brandon Harris, Blake Elberson, you probably heard of him as well, have put together an amazing event, probably 10 or 12 speakers over about a month or a week and a half period where we're going to be going out live and presenting. So in preparation that, I wanted to give you a quick talk on proposals that close themselves, just a quick teaser of some of the stuff we're going to be getting into in the live video and training, all free annual Lawn and Landscape Influencer Online Summit, first annual. So without any further ado, we're going to dive into this and get some knowledge out here to help close proposals this upcoming season. This is a live event here right now, just as I'm doing this preview. So if you have any comments or questions, drop them below in the Facebook feed as well. But quick lineup, we've got Blake Elberson, Sean Adams, John Perry, Brandon Harris, Scott Hans, amongst some other guys, myself, Mario, Bill, Brian. So got a huge lineup of people coming out. Just want to give you a quick preview of what's going on here coming up. Brandon and Blake are going to be announcing the times, but we have just an absolute killer lineup here coming up. So kind of try to pay it forward. I'm going to break out how to create proposals that close themselves. So here we go. The first thing we're looking at here is basically a sales pipeline. So off to the left, as we narrow this out here so you can get a better look at it, off to the left here, if you can see my cursor, we've got Facebook, text to the office, someone actually calling your office, or someone hitting your website. These are all the different ways that people can actually contact your office for an estimate. Now across the top, I've got Facebook Messenger. So as we scroll across the entire top, somebody hits Facebook Messenger, we can use a thing called a chat bot. And a chat bot is basically an automated way to send and receive Facebook messages. And we can drive them through an automated sales pipeline. In my lawn care company, we've actually created many chat autobots to actually do automated pricing for lawn mowing and fertilization. And basically here, this sales process is based on life cycle marketing. So all the other things are running through that blue sales funnel we've got here, and they're going in and requesting an estimate. The next step along the way is we're going to send out a thing called a lead letter. And these are the 5 or 6 reasons why our business is different and why people would want to do business with us. Before the estimate, we recommend going in and creating pre-estimate education. So this is going to run along our traditional automated route or across the top route of Facebook Messenger. But this is going to educate the consumer how to do the service themselves as a professional. Yes, I said we're going to educate the consumer how to do it themselves as a professional. So the whole goal here is to create a higher perceived value to your service. You can charge a higher price and want to overcome any of those sales or price objections. That's huge. And obviously, a lot of people are concerned, why would we ever teach our potential consumer how to do the service themselves? Well, I'm here to tell you there's this thing called Google. People will go on there and look how to do it. So why wouldn't you want to be the expert that comes up first, that shows them how to do it? And then when they're ready to make that buying decision, you've already proved yourself as an expert and justified your price. Next thing across the line here is our estimate is submitted. So we email that out, or we have a hard copy estimate that goes out to the consumer. Following step is we go into our 20 days to close process. So this is an automated estimate process that I recommend people end up building out, but it's going to go across multiple communication channels. So we're going to go through phones, via text, automated emails. So text messaging and emails are obviously automated, and we actually pick up the phone and call, usually day 1 and day 3 after each estimate. So what we've done is really converted an automated process through Facebook Messenger, through ManyChat. So we've automated the lead letter, the pre-estimate education, and submitting the estimate right through the Facebook Messenger platform. And then we're driving in through automated estimate follow-ups. We're going to follow up for 20 days. And believe it or not, we find a spike in sales between 7 and 10 days and 18 and 20 days. So if you're not following up at least 5 or more times, you're actually losing 80% of the sales. Statistically, 5 or more follow-ups to actually close 80% of the sales. If we take the back-end process and we go into the customer signing up, we've got a welcome and wow series. So once the estimate's won, we send out a welcome letter. We go out and acclimate them what to expect and potentially get a credit card on file. And then we upsell one-time services. So if it's a one-time, let's say, Spring cleanup, we're going to go out and upsell our reoccurring lawn mowing and fertilization and raise that client lifetime value. Conversely, if we didn't win the estimate, we'd scroll down and create something that we call long-term nurture and reactivation for a lost estimate. So through a timed out way, we're going to go out and send out videos and different kind of copy to educate the consumer even more how to do the services we offer. And then hopefully when they're ready to make that buying decision, they go out and pick up the phone and request an estimate or hit our website. Only other thing we didn't focus on here is on the bottom left, a lead magnet. So what happens when you're driving traffic to your website and they're not ready to commit and request an estimate off the website? So we recommend building out this thing called a lead magnet, and it's giving away a white paper or a free video series, how to do something that the consumer may be interested in. So in exchange for their first name, last name, and email, we give away something of content that's going to get them into our long-term nurture. We build a relationship, and then eventually we're going to go out and be there and be ready when they're ready to make that purchasing decision. So most people would think this is the ideal customer life cycle, but what is missing here? So I've given similar talks based on that program, and with either 30 or 40 people in the room or 300 to 400 people in the room. I haven't had a single person yet actually tell me what is missing in this chart. So we've got our lead source acquisition. We've got our Facebook Messenger, which is automated. We've got our sales funnel. We're driving them through a set sales process. Once they become a customer, we welcome and wow them. If we lose the estimate, we reactivate them. And we've got a lead magnet. So even if they're hit the website and they're not ready to buy, we capture their information. So as we look at this, you're probably wondering, well, what could possibly be missing? This seems absolutely the ideal scenario. Well, the one thing that is missing here is organic and paid content. So this is where we need to be going in, and the rules of engagement have changed. People are no longer looking to be sold. People are going out online and doing research and becoming armed with all the information they need before they actually make the buying decision. According to Marcus Sheridan in his book, They Ask, You Answer, Marcus gives a stat of 70% of all buying decisions are made before the consumer ever talks to your business. So it's more than ever being important that we need to go out and post organic content and then double down with a paid strategy. So the areas that we look at to probably double down on this organic and paid content strategy is going to be Facebook Messenger through a bot like ManyChat, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, and a website with a blog role. So not only is it important now to have a sales funnel set up, but we really need to get ahead of the sales funnel and go out organically and build content. The consumer, through different content, is going to become to know, like, and trust you. We're going to build that relevancy. We're going to create a higher perceived value. And if we're doing it right through a non-sales approach, we're going to overcome any of those sales and price objections. So by the time the consumer gets to you, it's not about price. It's more about where do I sign and how do I get you on my property to perform the weekly lawn mowing, the fertilization, or whatever those services are. So the new approach to selling, there's certain things we want to take a look at. What is my potential customers thinking? What are they searching for? What are they asking for? What are they feeling? And even important, what are they fearing? So let's be honest. There are some preconceived notions about contractors and the way we operate, or at least the way some of us operate. So we want to be able to go in and address some of those fear-based things, because let's face it, most consumers don't trust themselves to hire a contractor. And if they do trust themselves enough to hire a contractor, they sure, most of the time, do not trust them or trust us as a contractor. So we need to go out proactively and overcome any of these objections and build relevancy with a potential consumer. So the way we can do this is become the go-to expert. Are you willing to answer the good, the bad, the ugly, and the questions that, well, most contractors just don't want to answer? And there's going to be a specific approach to the way we can do this. So it's going to basically create this competitive advantage by answering and addressing these questions and concerns. We're going to have more insight to the consumer's buying habits. So basically, what are they looking for when they're buying? What are the things that they're searching for? Where's the market going? So just like Wayne Gretzky, he was going where the puck was going to be, not where the puck is. So if you're talking to consumers, you're answering these questions. Maybe it's robotic mowers. Maybe it's organic fertilizing. Who knows? You don't know until you start having these conversations and start answering these questions. And basically, this is going to hopefully give you that roadmap where you need to evolve your business to be and hopefully be where those customers are going to be in the future. So these are the things that we need to really look at. You're probably wondering, well, this all sounds great, but how do I actually get into doing this? So there's 3 steps to implementation. And the first thing I would really recommend is pause the video, take a quick mind dump, and write down the first 50 to 100, maybe 150 things that people ask you. And the most obvious things that you would think that people ask you, as far as like maybe the proper mowing height for time of year, or how much should I water my lawn after it's fertilized? These questions are obvious to us as professionals, but they're really not obvious to the consumer. So what we really want to do is be able to go out and answer these questions through content marketing. So the first 3 steps to implementation, once we build that out, is digital marketing, and basically how your sales process is going to change. So you're no longer going to be selling, but you're going to be educating. And then once we get to the actual estimate, the sales process is pretty much going to be done. You've overcome and basically closed the sale live. So by educating, we're no longer that used sleazy car salesman. We're going to go out and create perceived value, and through reciprocity, when they come back, we're going to close the sale. And hopefully, if we've done the process right, we've overcome any of those sales and price objections and created a higher perceived value. And the third step is I'm going to show you how you can execute this year in your business. So step 1 is content marketing. What does your ideal client want? I just talked about it. We want to brainstorm the first 100 to 150 questions that people ask your office, you on a daily basis. The key is we want to state the question as a consumer would ask them, not as a professional. So a big thing that happened in my life a few months ago is our hot water heater broke. And I went in and Googled why wouldn't a pilot light on a hot water heater stay lit? Well, I'm sure a professional in HVAC or hot water heaters would answer that or state that differently. But my question was, well, why wouldn't the pilot light stay lit? So you want to state these questions as the consumer is asking them, not in professional terms or jargon. And that question itself will become the content title and the actual content itself. Next step is we need to actually answer these questions and give real value. So back to the water heater example, I searched locally for that, and there was actually a gentleman locally, believe it or not, who gave me a shopping list for all the parts I need to fix this water heater from Lowe's and Home Depot. And then he actually gave me a video how to actually repair the hot water heater myself. And if anybody who knows me, I'm really not real handy with that type of thing. So there was no way I was going to go out and hire somebody to actually do that. But the problem is I didn't know what I needed to know before I saw those videos. Well, he actually took that problem and spun it into a positive. So now I knew this guy knew exactly what he needed. He knew exactly how to fix it. And he was able to explain to me in very layman's terms how to do it myself if I needed to. So at this point, I literally called the gentleman. Price wasn't even an issue at this point, as long as it was reasonable. I knew, I liked, and trusted this gentleman before I even met him through the video and the content he gave me. So in our lawn care company, we can take that same kind of idea in a fertilizing example and go out and maybe talk about different types of spreaders, why it's a drop spreader, a rotary spreader, or what the 3 numbers on the fertilizing bag need. So we need to go in and develop a process to capture the questions, state the question in our title, and answer it specifically and give value and no sales pitch. And once again, the things that are really obvious to us are not obvious to the consumer. So we need to put it in just general terms as the consumer would be asking us. Step 2 in this new sales approach is going out and actually making videos. So I talked about it in the upper left-hand corner here, questions that we get asked. So these are the questions that I answered from our office of what kind of spreader should I use. So we had a drop spreader and a rotary spreader. Literally went to Lowe's or Home Depot, pulled them off the shelf and explained it. We also went in and talked about the 3 numbers on the fertilizing bag. And then the video off to the right here, we talked about pre-emergent crabgrass control. When is the best time to apply it and how does it work? Those are questions that we get asked a lot. On the far right here, how to protect yourself as a consumer. These are fear-based things. So the video right here, believe it or not, on the left, is I was out doing estimates in the spring, and somebody had gone through a previous contractor and mulched around this giant landscape bed. There's a pile of snow in it. So they actually mulched around the landscape bed. Well, obviously there's a huge issue there because when that snow melts, there's going to be a big area of the bed that wasn't mulched. So, we can probably sympathize with the gentleman or lady that did this, that they were probably just trying to keep going this spring and keep payroll going and generate some revenue. But I use this as basically a way to address consumers' fears And I talked about the questions you need to ask before hiring a lawn care professional. And that was a content piece that really resonated with consumers. The one to the right of that, as you can see, I'm walking out of a real popular burger joint in town. And slip and fall lawsuits. Are you at risk? So this was built for property managers of commercial places that hired snow removal experts. So I talked about slip and fall and where to stack and place snow for melt and refreeze. I addressed the fact that they had actually, if you can see behind my shoulder here, they'd actually put a sewer grate literally in front of the door. So every time the snow melted and froze, everything went back in and caused a slip and fall, basically, issue or liability for them. So I talked about when you're going out to hire a snowplow contractor, how to avoid slip and fall lawsuits. And if you own a property, if you're putting in sewer grates or drainage grates, these are the things you need to look at. So that was a content piece that was really just educating, providing value to property managers around slip and fall lawsuits and mitigation of it. Next thing here is on the left, the good, the bad, and well, just the somewhat ugly. On the left here, we had a commercial and residential snow update. We had dropped a transmission in one of the trucks. So I literally got on live on Facebook and talked about, hey, we went down, a truck went down. We've hired some subcontractors to back us up. Schedule maybe a half hour to 45 minutes behind. But this is what we're addressing. So we're being upfront and honest and addressing the good and the not so good by answering questions before they're even asked. The other one here was a quick burst of snow. So while the consumers were in bed sleeping, we were out working this, and we had another burst of snow thereafter. So we were just letting them know we had salt trucks out and proactively were on the road. But if you had just gotten out of bed, you would have never known that things were clear up to about 20 minutes ago. So we wanted to be honest and address these things through education. And then the final thing, talking about education here, is educational content. So the first one is a video that we created, and the video was the video you need to show your current lawn care contractor. So we used one of our internal training videos and repurposed it, how to not tear the lawn up when spinning with a zero-turn mower, and the proper training that we take in-house to make sure the grass isn't getting blown in the beds and the different process and procedures. So what we did is we took some of our internal training and made content videos out of this to create a higher perceived value and let them know that we weren't somebody just driving around with a broke down pickup truck with no insurance, that what we provided had meaningful value and it was worth the extra money that we charged. The video to the right of that is step-by-step directions how to actually prune your shrubs. So this one was actually made as an educational content for our shrub pruning services, but then we were able to take that video and repurpose it into training for our employees. So not only is the educational content great for consumers, but a lot of it can be repurposed for internal training, whether it's for education of what to do or what not to do, or educational training to actually train your field staff or office staff. Step 2 continued is, why not frame yourself locally as an expert or international or national expert? So one of the things that we did is we went out to the news stations and made some relationships with them to offer to do B-roll. Basically, this is the before the shot video content. So we would go out and they're always looking for this video. So we became pretty good friends with the people at the news station. We were just providing free footage of our equipment and our guys and girls working. Eventually, they came to us and started asking us to do news pieces. So this was one here on the left that they asked me to, how are we dealing with the labor shortage in the industry? So every time we did this, we never really mentioned our company unless they asked us. It was purely educational, how to educate and what was going on in the industry. Well, eventually, even this shot here, they asked me to put my sales card in the back of the shot because they were thankful for all the free content and value that we gave them. So we talked about one of the not positive things right now of when it wasn't snowing enough, all the labor or a lot of the labor was leaving the snow removal industry and going somewhere else. We talked about how we dealt with the labor shortage and how the consumer could be comfortable with it. And if they're going out to hire a professional, things they should ask about that company, how they handle labor and labor shortage. Second one here on the right is Lawn and Landscape Magazine. I was fortunate enough to start a column called Callahan's Corner. And it was to help contractors like you and I learn the different facets of business. This article was actually about using Facebook Messenger and chatbots for automated pricing. But what I did is took that knowledge from the magazine and the credibility of a national magazine and repurposed that content to our potential clients and clients to reinforce our branding and our value and education of what was going on with our business. So we're doing organic content either on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter is the main big ones, and YouTube. We're repurposing it on our website. And now we're hopefully going out and working with local news stations or radio stations, and potentially maybe a local or national newspaper or magazine, writing some occasional content to continue to boost that relevancy. Step 3 is, how do we execute this? So where do we post it? We hit on a few of the places already. Facebook. Hopefully we have a business page for the company. Neighborhood groups are private. I'd be really cautious of the neighborhood or local groups. They're a really, really strong and powerful thing, but we don't want to go in there and spam them or sell anything. We want to go in and just provide education, and potentially maybe start up your own local group that you manage, so you have some control over that. But the same thing there is, you're going to want to provide